Hello and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1, Section 1, 1B and A, and this is our video presentation for Project Task BNP 10403, Engineering Drawing and CAD. We have 4 group members. The first one is Kastina Rakia binti Muhammad Kamarul Hisham. Second, Muhammad Aidil Ashraf bin Muhammad Roshdi. Third is me, Farah Aisyah binti Muhammad Kamal. And fourth, Azwan Nazran bin Arif.
The Kuala Lumpur City Hall, usually referred to as Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur and shortened as DBKL, is the municipal body in Malaysia that is responsible for running Kuala Lumpur. The national capital of Malaysia is governed by Kuala Lumpur City Hall. After the city received official city status on February 1st, 1972, this council was created. A total of 240 square kilometers fall under this purview. Kuala Lumpur, which started out as a tiny town, has grown into the largest metropolis in the nation and has become a regional hub for commerce, finance, administration, education, religion, culture, and sports. Through physical and social development plans, regulated planning, and urban services, Kuala Lumpur Metropolis Hall oversees the growth, development, and administration of developing the city.
Next is plan submissions. Plan submissions for the authority is based on every land developer which has their own responsibility to carry out any land development to obtain land planning submissions from Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur (DBKL). They are allowed to carry on the result according to the plans and the conditions to set down in the permission forms. The steps for the land developers to submit their plan submission for Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur is by submitting through the application via an online portal or offline. A person may manage the building work once he has granted to the formal approval, which is building plan approval, by permission from Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur or under Building Act. Plus, there are several types of simultaneous application submitted at OSC Center. The charter period for the application is 27 days. The applicant will be given to the payment to complete the application received by local authority, Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur. For the process of step submissions, there are 6 steps. First one is applications of the land matters, a request for authorization on land concerns involving subdivisions, modification of terms, and surrender by the allegation necessitates authorization from the Land Mines and Department of the Federal Territories. Second step is the application for planning permissions. Application for planning permission include requests to approve to the layout plan, amend the land use zoning, races, population density, and the request approval to propose the development. The third step is application for building plan. The application for the building plan approval, including the fire security plan, detailed plan and report on the rainwater management system, pre-construction, and etc. Fourth step is the application for the engineering plan. It is based on the earthwork plan, road, and the drainage plan, and the straight lining plan. Fifth step is the landscape applications. The resources that are in the plan included the location plan, road, and the drainage plan, and the landscape plan. And for the last one is the sixth step, submit the plans for the acknowledgement to the Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur one-stop center through online or offline. Now, let's move to the roles involved in this plan submission. To construct a project plan submissions, there are many roles involved and responsible to manage the plan proposal, including the client, land developer, landowner, architect, main contractor, minor contractor, administrator, public service departments, which is POMBA, Syabas, TNB, and DBKL, and for the last one is DBKL One-Stop Center.
Advantages. First one is the economical operation. There is a low likelihood that production costs will exceed the allocated budget. For a project, the wage and the number of workers have both been determined. This makes it easier to organize salary payments because the division has been determined from the start. The second one is facilitates control. Because everything will be governed by the plan that has been developed, planning streamlines all work. With the total of all units listed, the intended objective can be accomplished in a predetermined amount of time. With the restrictions that have been noted in the plan, members of the listed organization can be aware of the time, location, and activities that need to be carried out. The third one is focus on objectives and goals. Making decision is made easier and a time range can be created by estimating when the project will be able to achieve its goal. It also indicates who will be in responsibility of evaluating performance in light of the set objectives. As a result, the worker may focus on the organizational goals and the strategy for achieving them. Next is disadvantages. The first one is requires a lot of manpower. Due to the enormous amount of labor that requires significant financial resources and the rising cost of equipment to support a large amount of manpower, the cost of paying wages will also rise. Additionally, it is the obligation of the head to look for adequate labor that possesses talent, originality, and ability to as well to supervise and train the huge number of workers. Second is time allotment. To prevent errors within the allotted period, the project must be hastened with an adequate number of workers. To avoid this, a management team should be established to distribute responsibilities fairly and allow enough time to each laborer. In order to prevent delays and waste, the leader is also responsible for closely monitoring every action and task carried out by the workforce. And the third one is rigidity. When circumstances change, sticking to a plan could not be advantageous for the organization, and the degree of rigidity in the design might be troublesome. Formal plans have to have power to bind an organization to certain goals that must be achieved within a specific time frame. It is possible that the environment wasn't expected to change when these goals were established. Leaders who stuck to their plans might encounter problems if the situation changed.
Okay, now I will be presenting to you the regulation or acts involved in the plan submission and drawings. The building plan approval involves regulation, laws, and guidelines to ensure systematic and orderly development. The knowledge of building plan manner is important to apprehend whether or not the development follows the building regulation. The local authority plays crucial role to make sure that everyone application associated with construction works comply with all of the regulation and legislation. Professional architects should be properly aware of the land laws and issues in relation to the land and property development, including architect laws and acts. Okay, so this is Architect Acts 1967, Acts 117, Part 1 Preliminary. So basically, this act highlights about environment and submission of plan or drawing to any person or local authority in Malaysia. So the acts that I will highlight is about any survey preparation or reports including environment impact assessment report or investigation relating to the built environment, and conceptualization, research and development of any design for the built environment, and any other activities relating to the creation, preservation and enhancement of the built environment. Okay, this is still at the same act, but this is Part 3 Registration of Architect, Architectural Consultancy Practice. This act highlighted about the submission of the drawing, and every professional architect who is residing in Malaysia and is in consultancy service in Malaysia shall be entitled to submit plans or drawing to any person or authority in Malaysia according to his qualification or the qualification of the professional architect in that architectural consultancy practice, and preparing and submitting application for planning approval, conversion, subdivision and allegation layout drawings. The next act is from provision under Architect Act 1967 from Act 117. Nothing contained in any other written law shall prevent any architect, foreign architect or architectural consultancy practice from basically making valuation of building or structure, and preparing and submission application for planning approval, conversion and amalgamation layout drawings, and carrying out planning studies, environmental impact studies relating to the land use. The next act is from Registration of Engineer Act 1967, Part 3 Registration of Engineer. This act highlighted about the right of professional engineer or engineering consultancy practice to submit a plan is subjected to any condition or restriction, such as architect should be registered with any government department, local authority for the purpose of submitting plans, drawing, scheme, proposal, reports, design or any studies to that department, or authority to continue to submit them to that department or authority subject to such term and condition as may be have been imposed under such registration. Next is the certificate involving in the process. So the certificate involving in the process is the CCC. CCC stands for the Certificate of Completion and Compliance and is a new term introduced by the Street Drainage and Building Amendment Act 2007 Amendment Act. The CCC will be used by a principal submitting person or known as PSP, which is radical change indeed. The PSP is a professional architect, engineer, or building draftsman who submit building plans to the LA for the approval. The PSP responsibilities include submitting building plans for approval by the LA, supervising the erection and completion of the building in conformity with the approved plan and the requirement of the provision of acts and by the law. Okay, this is the Construction Industry Standard Contractor Quality Management System or known as CQMS. In this section 3, there is about construction management requirement, which is post-construction. Upon satisfactory of rectification work, contractor shall request or remind the superintendent officer or known as SO the certificate of making good defect or CMGD. The contractor shall prepare final project report as applicable and final claim before the submission to the client.
One of the most promising strategies for reducing paper usage involves going online and substituting electronic, digital, and virtual applications for paper ones. It is possible to compare the effect of paper and digital technologies on the paper and information technology (IT) sectors globally or at the margin of specific goods. According to several research, using an electronic device beyond a certain amount of pages has a lower environmental impact than using an equivalent number of paper pages. Paper production and disposal have the greatest effects on climate change, while usage has relatively little of an influence. The electricity used while using IT, in contrast, has the greatest influence. Example, the internet requires a vast amount of electricity. So comparisons between the energy required to use paper and IT in the industry paint a skewed picture. The benefits. It is imperative to move to the online procedure because of the online approach is exceedingly time-consuming and erratic. Economically, for building plan approvals will need contribute to the overall revenue of government agencies, cut down costs for architect and real estate developers, reduce the real estate pricing for end users as it will eliminate unwarranted delays. Overall, we have to see the larger picture and focus on the assortment of benefits that the online building plan approval system brings forth.
The main significance of submitting the plan submission is to identify the basic requirement and details of the project such as the scopes, objective, cost and duration of the project as well as the benefit derived from the project handover. Besides, in the process of the submitting this plan, the builder or the responsible party will be able to identify costs and the various important requirements such as appointing a project manager responsible for planning and managing the project well, and the project can be completed according to the cost, time and the quality. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Azwan Azrami Arif, pemegang komiti bernombor CN210019. Saya diberi tanggungjawab oleh ahli kumpulan saya iaitu grup 1 untuk membuat pelan lantai. Untuk membuat pelan lantai. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hari ini saya akan bercerita dengan lebih sedikit tentang floor plan ataupun plan lantai yang dibuat oleh saya, wakilkan oleh saya untuk grup 1. Okey, seperti yang anda lihat, seperti yang Dr. lihat, di sini keluasannya adalah 1473 persegi, yang mana mempunyai 3 bilik ataupun 3 bilik tidur dan mempunyai 3 bilik mandi ataupun sekali dengan tandas. Yang pertama, rumah ini adalah 2 tingkat. Yang saya buat ni adalah rumah 2 tingkat, yang mana ruang bawah rumah ni adalah untuk kawasan makan, kawasan dapur, dan mempunyai 1 bilik air di bawah, dan mempunyai juga ruang tamu untuk keluarga beristirahat. Ruang bawah juga mempunyai 1 garaj. Betul, 1 garaj dengan keluasan membolehkan ia memuatkan dalam 2 buah kereta. Dan untuk atas, kita mempunyai 3 bilik tidur. Yang pertama adalah master bedroom ataupun yang dipanggil bedroom ruang tidur keluasan yang besar. 1 ruang tidur kedua dan ruang tidur ketiga. Dan mempunyai 2 bilik air, iaitu dekat dengan bersebelahan dengan bedroom 2 dengan bedroom 3, manakala 1 lagi untuk master bedroom. Terima kasih.